Welcome everybody to another session of Creating Wealth Through Property. Today I have someone very special for you. Dina Aletrari from the Successful Male Group. I've known Dina for probably about 6 years, I'm guessing now, and I actually met her during a property session. So I know she has a property background, but that isn't her forte in life. The successful male, guess what? Her forte is males. So let's get into it, and I'd love you to say hello to Dina. Dina, are you there?
Yes. Hi, Craig. How are you?
Great, and it's great to have you on board.
Thanks.
And I'm really looking forward to you telling us all about yourself. And from what I'm gathering, you're going to tell us a bit about ourselves as well. Is that right?
I like to think of it as looking within and evaluating yourself. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, let's get into it, shall we?
Yes, let's do it. Well, as you know, I'm currently a successful male. So what we do is we inspire men to thrive. So we found that there are a lot of men out there who they're stuck in survival mode. They're not making a difference. They don't know what their passion is or what their purpose in life is, and they're living below their potential, and they're not living the life that they want to live. So what we do is we inspire them to thrive. We have found that it starts with the way you think, and what we do is we provide the tools for them to start that journey and start that process. So the tools that they need to make a difference and to change the way they are.
So pretty much it's all between their ears, really. That's the issue, hey?
Yeah, pretty much, as it is for all of us, I think.
So I don't know whether you'd noticed, but you're a girl.
Yes, I am a girl.
How's that working out for you?
Actually, very well, very well. So we like to think of it as we're playing on the same side. So a lot of people have asked me, you know, why do you want to help men? Why are you passionate about men? And why don't you stick with women? Because, you know, women need empowerment and support too. And my response simply is we're all playing on the same side here. So when you have a man who is purposeful in life, who knows what his passion is, who has influence, who is a man of character and respect, he makes a better husband. He's going to make a better father. He's going to make a better business owner or colleague, friend, relative. So it really does have a positive flow and effect to everyone around that man. So I find that really interesting when I get that question, because it's almost like people think of us on one side and women on the other side, like men versus women or something, but we're in this together and we should all develop together. Men and women both, you know, need empowerment and they need help in different areas. So
well,
yeah,
I guess there's been a big push towards men are from Mars and women are from Venus. That's been put into people's brains, so we are different.
Yes.
And what you're telling me is we're not that different, really.
Not really. I mean, of course, you could state the obvious. We are different. Who knows if we are from different planets? Maybe. Some days I feel like that. But I mean, in terms of what we want to get out of life, the fulfillment we want to feel, how we want to create the sort of life that we really feel passionate about living and making a positive impact in other people's lives, I think it's in our innate nature to, you know, always go towards that and try to achieve something better. It's like when you achieve a goal, you know, typically you don't just stop. You think, great, I've achieved that goal now. What else can I do? You know, and then you usually find yourself setting an even bigger goal. So it's in our innate nature to grow and to want to be better and do better. And if you can help others while you're doing that, then it's even better.
Through my experience, one of the greatest problems that people have in doing things is they achieve that goal, but they haven't got the bigger goal set further out. So once they achieve that goal, whatever it may have been, they're then lost and are potentially in a real danger zone where they're then not going to achieve further things after that. Would that be right from your perspective?
I think so. I think a lot of people lack focus and a strategy maybe to get to that point, and just to have that clarity. So clarity is very important when it comes to, you know, achieving a goal and even setting a goal. Because if you're not clear on where you're going and what you're wanting to achieve, then, you know, you pretty much end up floating or drifting. So it's like, imagine you're going to meet a friend for lunch, and you want to drive there with your car and turn your sat nav on your navigation system to get there, right? If you've only got the suburb that your friend is in, what's the likelihood that you're going to find him or her? You know, pretty low. And even if you have the street and the suburb, okay, your probability has gone a little bit higher, but you know, it's still not dead on track. So our mind's the same. You need to have that door number, that street address, that suburb, that postcode, everything to get there. And a lot of the case, the journey that you're on is just like when you're driving somewhere. You know, you're going to have to go left, you're going to have to go right, you're going to go up, there's going to be downs. It's a journey, and it's all about adjusting your focus to get to that end goal, that end destination. And I think that's something that a lot of people can benefit from if they use that to get really clear on what they want and get really clear on the process and achieve their goals more sufficiently and faster, and have fun on the journey, knowing that you're going there, you're going to get there, you're on the right direction, rather than having that uncertainty of where you're going because you don't even know where you'd like to go. Does that make sense?
I feel as though you're talking directly at me in relation to property, and sometimes it goes this way, sometimes it goes that way, but provided you've got that goal out there,
exactly,
you can make those corrections and make those turns and still hit your ultimate objective as you go down the track.
Exactly right. Like even with what you do, and for example, if someone came in to see you and they have this goal of wanting to have X amount of properties or X amount of income by a certain year, say 15 years ahead of time or 20 years or whatever that figure is, you know, then you can map out a plan to get there, and you figure out how much you need to put aside, where you're going to buy, what things you're going to consider when it comes to investing, what vehicle you're going to use to produce that investment, whether it's, you know, buying and holding long term, whether you're going to find something that needs renovating, whether you're going to buy something and subdivide it and then sell that piece of land off, or build another property or dwelling at the back, or there's endless possibilities. But having that clarity of what you're going to do and what that will actually give you in return will enable you to reach that goal at the end, to make sure that you get there.
What I tend to do is to set people 90-day goals and objectives. What I find most amazing is that in that, the thing that people actually miss out on the most is actually calling someone. I know from your perspective that you've got some great mentors, but what people actually forget is in these 90-day goals is they've actually got to call their mentors and make contact and spend time with them on a regular basis so that they can then be kept on track and keep progressing along the way. Do you find that from your perspective, that people that keep contact with their mentors are more successful than the ones that just plod along by themselves?
Yeah, so we have witnessed that there's been a faster and more dramatic transformation in those who opt to get the most mentorship with their mentor. So there's all sorts of different packages that you can opt to go, depending on how much support you want, you know, financially and so forth. So if you're someone who wants, you know, maybe half the amount of mentoring, so instead of having one every single week, one session every week with their mentor, they might want one a month, or, you know, one every 2 weeks. So it just depends on the person. But in terms of keeping on track, of course, we can definitely hold the client more accountable for their results and keep them on track if we're in that regular contact. And I always encourage my clients to keep in touch with me throughout that week too. You know, if there's an epiphany moment that they have, or an aha moment that they've experienced, or sometimes you just wake up in the morning and you seem to have another light bulb that's gone off in your head, and, you know, you have that expanded awareness. And it happens, sometimes it can happen really dramatically out of nowhere, and sometimes it happens gradually. So I love to hear back from my clients throughout the week and hearing about all those things that are happening in their life, because essentially we're working very closely together, and it's quite an intimate relationship with knowing someone's goals, someone's dreams, you know, what they aspire to be, what their ambitions are. So it's a very close relationship, and it's great to be able to help them get to that stage of their life and help them stay accountable for what they say they're going to do, and help them actually do it and, you know, hit those milestones. Because effectively, the way we see it is, it's a cause and effect process. So the cause is, of course, the actions you're taking, and the effect is the results that you're getting. So if you're not getting the results that you're wanting, well, it might be good to have a look at the cause and figure out what's going on there. What can you change to get a different result, which is essentially the effect.
With your epiphanies, I have to admit, I keep a whiteboard in the shower.
Really? In the shower?
I do. I'll go in there, I'll be in the shower, and I'll come up with, that's a great idea, and I'll write it down. And then I'll get out of the shower and I'll start working. I'll go back in. Oh, that's what I was thinking of. Write it back down, work on that, go and rub it off. And then, so I've still got a few on there that I haven't addressed as yet. So I'll get back to them, but they're there and they're on my mind. I see them every day. Yeah. And I will address them. So that's where what I do with my epiphanies.
Do you think that's important, to be able to write them down as soon as they pop into your head?
Oh, absolutely, because I've got a brain like a sieve. I'll just forget them otherwise. And you come up with these great ideas that are going to help people out or do something, and it's a real shame to lose them. So
yeah, I agree.
These days people have got these great things called mobile phones, and they can just go take a note or whatever.
Yes.
How it works, I don't actually know. But anyway.
Yeah, it's true. It's great to capture those moments and those ideas, because they can slip away pretty quickly if you're not, you know, writing them down as soon as they pop into your head. Because, I mean, life happens, you know, and you might get a notification on your phone, or your phone might ring, or your dog might pester you to be fed, or something happens and it just distracts your mind from what you're thinking about. And, yeah, it's great to be able to write those things down.
So tell me some of the great things that you've achieved with your clients. What are some of the real highlights that and the pleasures that you've had doing what you're doing?
There's been so many. But to name a couple, we don't
have to name them, by the way.
Of course. But to name a few milestones that they've come across, I do have a client, and what he wanted to do was lose weight and stop drinking and really start to focus. Yeah, really start to focus on goals. I think it's something that a lot of people aspire to do, you know, cut down on the alcohol, get focused, lose weight. It sounds pretty common, doesn't it? But actually making it all happen is another story.
So you do that, you do finance stuff. What other stuff do you do?
Well, the main focus in my life now is with the successful male, and helping men and inspiring them to thrive in their life and just grow into the best version of themselves. So that's my number one passion, and where I get the best feeling in my life from, when someone's hit a milestone or they've achieved something that they've never been able to achieve before. Just having that expanded awareness and breaking through mental barriers that they couldn't break through before. So that's where I feel the most rewarded, being that person who helped them get to that point in their life. But I had a very important mentor to me, and his name's Ron Malhotra. He's actually the founder and CEO of The Successful Male, and I was fortunate enough to be friends with him beforehand, and he helped me a lot, and he mentored me through a lot of different things. And it was that moment when I connected all the dots and realized that he initially changed my life. He changed how I thought. He changed the way I evaluated things, my life, and where I was heading and where I have been, what I've learned, all sorts of things that I'd never really reflected on before. And I thought, wow, how great would it be if I was that person to others? Because initially it just only takes one person to turn on the light bulb around something that no one's ever focused on before. And that can have a flow-on effect throughout your whole life, just by doing one thing different.
So what sort of guys do you deal with? Are they all professionals, or are they just normal people?
Yeah, I have a mixture. So, I mean, they're all normal. I like to think they're all normal. But yeah, some are professional, some have executive jobs, some have, you know, average jobs, some, you know, are stay-at-home dads. It just depends. Yeah, there's just a really big blend, a really big mixture of all sorts of guys out there. And that's one thing I found really interesting, was that initially I guess I could say I thought that there would be one type of guy that would fit into this particular box, that would need or want this sort of help or assistance or inspiration, whatever you'd like to call it. And what I found was that there are men that are in all sorts of different professions, all sorts of areas in their life, different ages, different stages in their life, and they all have really similar things in common. You know, I mean, one of the most common things that I've come across are men who don't feel as confident as they'd like to feel. You know, they have self-doubt, they worry too much, they feel like maybe they're not good enough, or they can't pursue their dreams of what they've always wanted to do, or they've listened to the naysayers too much, because a lot of the time it can be family members, and it can get you down if you let that get you down. So yeah, it's just been a really wonderful mix of men, and all coming from all walks of life and all countries too. I've had people contact me from India, from the United Kingdom, from America. So I think as the word gets out on what we do and how we assist people, the more and more interest we're getting from all sorts of areas all over the world, which is truly amazing.
So you do this not one-on-one or not in a group, you do this on the internet as well, by the sound of it, over the internet?
So all the mentoring sessions are conducted over the internet. We do a mixture of group mentoring sessions and one-on-one. So that's another option that we have for people, because some men would prefer to be in more of a classroom setting where you've got a few other people who are on the same journey as you. So what we do is we form a group of men to begin at the same time. So when they're initially going through the blueprint, which is our program that's designed for the men, they're at the same stage of learning, and they can make friends with each other and reflect and help each other through. And some people prefer the one-on-one support with a mentor. So we have, you know, different options for different preferences depending on what they like to do. Yeah.
Okay. Guys being guys, they're not big talkers traditionally.
Yeah.
How do they go in this group environment?
Well, I offer it to the people who I think would like to be in that environment. So I initially let everyone know who I'm speaking with, you know, if I'm having a consult with them and learning about them and their dreams and their past and where they're looking to go. I let them know that there is an option for group mentoring, and people know pretty early on whether they'd like to go down that route. So they usually let me know early on, yes or no, or I prefer to have one-on-one interaction, or I'd like to see and meet other guys who are doing the same thing as I'm doing and bouncing ideas off each other. So it really does depend on the person. But the guys who have opted for the group mentoring sessions, you know, they've become really great friends with other guys in the group. And I think personally that it's friendship for life, really, especially when you're going through that period where you're making big changes in your life. Those friendships and connections that you make in those moments usually do last quite a long time, which I think is great as well for the guys to have.
Okay, so they're spread around the world even, and they just get together on a Zoom or Skype chat, some sort of forum,
exactly
on a week or monthly basis.
Yeah. So it just depends on the program and how they set it out. So it could be weekly, could be every 2 weeks, could be every 3 weeks, or monthly. It just depends. But we make sure that if you're in a group, you have, of course, the same date. So it would be every week on the same date, same time, so that the group is essentially mentored together, if that makes sense.
And how many people have you had through your program? Has it been quite a few, or?
Yeah, quite a lot. I wouldn't know the exact number. It changes pretty quickly. Okay. Every day it changes. So,
excellent.
Yeah, double digits for sure.
Oh, fantastic. That's terrific.
Yeah.
So I want to get back to one of what's one of the funniest goals that you've helped people achieve?
Funniest?
Yeah, what would be the funniest one that you've come across?
The funniest goal? I don't know about funny.
Skydiving or anything like that?
Oh, I guess you could, you could think if you think that's funny. Yeah, skydiving was one. I thought it was more thrilling than funny, but
Oh, no, it's funny from my side of things because there's no way I'm doing it.
that's true. I've always wanted to do it myself, but I haven't plucked up the courage to jump out of a plane as yet. But yeah, one of my clients actually did go skydiving not long ago, about 3 weeks ago now. And he was a little scared, but he did it, which is good. I don't think it was one of his goals from this, though. That was more just something that he wanted to do just to, add a bit of flair in his life, or he did it with a friend of his. But I mean, look, there's so many different sorts of goals, and some have big goals, some have smaller goals. I mean, it could be something as simple as waking up at 5 a.m. and going for a 30-minute jog, and just forming that habit around the exercise regime, just to form that habit so they can gradually build it up. Other clients have bigger goals, or when I say bigger, I mean, it could feel bigger to some or not, but others could be, wanting to public speak for the first time, and that's something that I've heard is one of the top things that scare people, actually more than death too. I think it's a really high percentage of people who are more afraid of public speaking than dying, which is crazy.
I think you're being a little modest there. I think you might have done a bit of public speaking in your time yourself, actually.
I have, yes. It is scary, especially in the beginning, when you're wanting to inspire people and, all you want to do is add value, and you want those people to walk away with an added insight or something, So there's that to think about, but I guess it's the scare level is different for everybody. Some people are absolutely petrified, and some people just really want to get out there and get their message across and help people.
And what do you think is the most motivating thing for people? Is it their family? Is it their kids? Is it peer review? What are the sort of motivations that people have to get out there and achieve?
Family is a big one. So a lot of guys I come across, they want to be better fathers, better husbands. They want to be, a more supportive role model in their family. So that's a driving force for them. Other guys just really have felt for a long time, in many cases, decades of their life, they felt that they could be more, and they feel it inside of them, and they've just sort of put a blanket over that for a long time and stayed in their current job or career. And so the driving force for them is really just breaking free of those shackles that have been weighing them down for so long, which they've allowed to weigh them down because of the choices that they've made. So, it can range from family, it can range from just being fed up of the current situation. Some I've come across have someone that's passed away, and something that they've promised that person was, I will do this in my life, and I'll make sure I do it, and I'll stick to it. And that's been something that has created a really emotional impact on them. And so they follow through with that person's wish, which is touching. Yeah, it's really touching.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, it's amazing to be part of that as well.
I was guilty on one of those that you mentioned there. I was in the IT industry for 30 years.
Yes, so you were, yeah.
I must say the last 10 years of that, I really hated.
Really?
But I was scared. I had mortgages myself. I had my family, son at school. So I fit your category perfectly. And I was just a typical IT worker.
Yeah.
Nothing special.
What do you think kept you in that position of not enjoying it for 10 years before you initially took the jump?
I had a great wage. As I said, my son was at school. I had a family to look after, mortgage payments, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Typical guy stuff, I guess.
Yeah, we all have these things that we have to, the responsibilities.
To be able to give up the wage and give up the steady, the known, to make that decision is just so tough.
Mm-hmm.
And then to do something else, which people don't see you as, and they don't see the potential, they don't understand, and they don't understand the pressure that you're under.
Yeah.
That's really tough. So when you're talking there, I really did feel it, and
Yeah.
felt as though you were talking directly from my experiences.
Yeah. Well, a lot of guys do find themselves in that position. That's why it's something that you resonated with, because a lot of men are faced with the same situation, the same thoughts, running through their minds in terms of my family, how do I support them, and the mortgages and the bills, the groceries, the soccer after school. There's all these things that you've got to consider, especially when you're thinking to make that jump and take that leap to make a change. I mean, what was it that really solidified it for you when you decided that enough was enough? Did something happen that got you to that point?
Oh, we are getting very personal here, but basically what happened was I was working as a consultant and my contract came due. And I went for a job that I should have got and I didn't get it.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, that was unexpected. Maybe I'm now unemployable. And because I was 50 years of age, maybe this is what happens. So I think at that stage I thought to myself, well, maybe it's time for a change.
Yeah.
So I'd had the passion of property and education. I'd had that for probably 13 years beforehand.
Wow.
But I just wasn't prepared to take that step.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, this is it. This is the time. So I did it.
That's great.
But that was really the catalyst.
Yeah.
So it was a good question, but I guess it's a very personal thing, and I'm just like your clientele, really. I am a guy, and with all the guy stuff behind them. So even admitting that is a tough thing for someone.
You made the leap, you did it, and you came out the other end better off.
So other people can do it as well, because I was just a standard old person. When I say old, I made it to 50.
You're that old.
So,
absolutely right, and I love hearing those sorts of stories because it really does demonstrate courage, and courage is doing something even while you're feeling the fear. Despite feeling the fear, you're doing it anyway, and I'm sure you had that.
Terror as well as a nice word.
Yeah, exactly, but you did it anyway, and that demonstrates true courage. And look what you were able to achieve afterwards. Now that you've made that leap, I mean, is there any part of you that thinks, damn it, I should have done it a bit earlier?
Oh, absolutely. Every part of me knows I should have done it 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
I knew that the whole time, and I was resisting it. Fear and terror. And comfort, by the way. Comfort is another word. So, well, this has been great, Dina. I didn't really get you on here to work through my issues. I was hoping you could help everybody else.
Of course.
Within the Creating Wealth Through Property group. I guess if you can help me, you can help anyone.
Yeah, we're all human. We've all got these issues and things that we've had to fight through and the journeys we've been on. So I just love hearing about other people's journeys and what they learned, and, hearing how you were in that position at one point and you pushed through and you, got the courage together and made that leap, and now you're, living the life that you want to live and doing things that you love to do. So you are inspiring to all those people around you, just as it is, even without me jumping on the show and sharing insights. You're a prime example of a man who took control of his life, thought, enough was enough. You got the courage together and you made that jump and you did it.
I did, and I must say it has really helped the relationship with my wife, the relationship with my son as well. So if you're happy within yourself, it does have an effect on your family as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And the people around you.
Of course.
So,
if you're a happy man, it flows on to everyone around you.
Well, Dina, it's been terrific having you on board here today. There's been a few laughs and a few home truths as well. But what I'd like to do is, how do people get hold of you? you have a variety of different programs. Are you able to tell us a bit about that? And we'll put something on the end of this video for your contact details as well.
Yeah, so our program is called the Successful Male Blueprint, and it's designed for men. We do have female clients too, which surprised some people. I've been someone who's gone through the program too myself, and I'm, as you can see, a female. But yeah, it's designed for men. It's called the Blueprint, and if you'd like to know more about it, get in touch with me. I know Craig will put my details at the end of this this video so that you can send me an email or send me a message, and we can go from that point forwards if you'd like to know more about how you can change your life around.
Beautiful. And yes, I think we've fully established that you're a girl.
Yes.
But no, that'd be terrific. Everyone, I really encourage you to make contact with Dina. Just one other question, Dina. Do you have a bit of an intro session where people can call you up and you can just have a bit of a chat?
Yes, absolutely. So if you get in touch with Craig, he can give you a coupon so that when you do get in touch with me, you get a free strategy session. It's a no obligation session with me, so we can conduct them over a telephone call or Skype or Zoom, and we can talk a little bit about your goals and your future, what you're hoping to uncover and achieve, and we can see if it's something that is suitable for you to be working with us and how it can benefit you. So get in touch with Craig for that, and he can supply the coupon for you.
Well, thank you very much, Dina, for allowing us to have that special coupon and that free consultation for you for the strategy session. That's terrific. I know that our Creating Wealth Through Property people will love that, and that'll be an amazing bonus for them. So thank you once again, Dina, and looking forward to catching up with you another time.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you for having me, and it's been a pleasure.
It is always a pleasure. How do I say your surname, Dina?
Aletrari.
Aletrari.
Perfect.
Aletrari, okay. Okay, we'll start that again. Get off my screen, Dina. You're back again.
Stop. Don't give me laugh.
Are you finished?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.